Nora Valkyrie, Yang Xiaolong, the muscle of their respected teams, and part 4 in this 5-part mini-series. Now, they provide very similar aspects to both of their teams, being humor. As I mentioned previously, they are the muscle of the group, but also their fun-loving personalities have drawn in many characters to the point where during the events of Volume 1 to 3, many people would consider Nora and Yang to be some of their favorite characters. Now, we're going to be putting these two highly loved characters into a matchup to see how they stack up. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Starting with Yang Xiaolong. Oh boy. She is typically considered to be, I want to say, the strongest of Team RWBY, but then again, when you see her feats, they kind of make no sense. Like, for example, RWBY was able to fight off Roman Tortrick and Neo at the same time, correct? Yep, everyone got that. Yang lost her fight to Neo, though. And no one... It makes no sense, because then you also look at, oh, well, Yang was selected to go to the finals for Team RWBY, and RWBY wasn't. And keep in mind, this isn't a bias like, oh, Yang's the only one who voted for herself. Weiss, Blake, and RWBY all collectively agreed that Yang should move on to the finals. So shouldn't that mean she's more powerful? Shouldn't that mean she's the best fighter among them? Well, not really. You have these feats where obviously she doesn't take in too many fights, but she's also given way more moments to shine, like during the Paladin attack, and when they fought the prototype Paladin. Well, it was Yang who took it out. It wasn't RWBY who dealt the final blow. It wasn't Weiss. It was, well, Yang. And it could be that Yang is very strong physically, like she is obviously the physically strongest, but she definitely has the least versatile arsenal. As A, she doesn't have very good range with her weapons. B, they're only good for close quarters combat. And C, her semblance doesn't really allow her to do anything different. Like with Weiss, RWBY, and Blake, they all have fitting semblances. Yang's semblance just straight up boosts her power. Now granted, that does really help her in the role of, well, tank, because she tanks damage and deals it back out. Like what you need in a tank. But it's very odd, to say the least. Now, that's not me trying to discredit her in any way, but she definitely scales to the rest of her team. It's just, I notice a lot of the time she is portrayed as the strongest, but her feats kind of almost discredit that. So in order to get a full comprehension of what she is capable of in this matchup, you have to compare her to her teammates and say that is her limit. Now granted, we also know exactly what her limit is, and she is not a top tier fighter considering she got one shot by Adam. So but that's considering how strong Adam was in the early volumes. Like, keep in mind, Cinder straight up was more afraid of Adam than she was of a maiden. So Adam in the earlier volumes was a monster, and they needed to grow in order to catch up to him. So we can safely say that's her limit. Now that we have Yang out of the way, let's scale to Nora. Now, Nora Valkyrie is the muscle and the goofier side of Team Juniper, whereas, you know, Ren is pretty quiet and subdued. His partner, Nora, is pretty much as opposite as opposites can be. Now, let's get into her feats. So, she bullied an Ursa in Volume 1, but not too impressive. Oh, she completely flattened a King Taijutsu. And she basically ran rampant in Volume 3. So, Volume 3, she sent 3 dudes flying. Or no, sorry, not 3 dudes and a woman in the tournament, blitzing all of them and basically destroying all of them in one hit, which is quite alarming. Now, this could obviously be since Nora gains a boost from her electric shock. She might have still had that, but she already used that electric attack at the time to, completely send one of the opponents flying. And it's not really clear how long it lasts. It typically just tends to be one hit in particular, and then after that she needs to recharge. Now, this is very impressive. Combine that with the fact that she also, ironically in this case, beat Yang in a 1-to-1 fight. And it starts to get quite messy. See, I saved this bit for Nora because I believe Nora is going to win this. So, obviously it's part of her section, and getting into the actual fight, she has a better weapon, being a grenade launcher and a hammer that she can also use to increase her attack potency much higher, to the point where she can knock out extremely durable Grim. Yes, Yang did in fact get the final blow on the Paladin, but guess what? Nora was also able to fight a Paladin, and while she did not succeed, Winter made it very clear in Volume 3 that, well, if the Paladins were fully functioning and not prototypes like the ones that Nora fought alongside the rest of the students, Team RWBY would have stood no chance. So, Nora didn't do as well to a stronger Paladin, and also at the same time, Nora's backup was Ren, and Ren lost in a fight to Yang. Now, it was the food fight, so obviously it should not be taken that seriously, but my point still stands. Nora did quite well against a stronger opponent than Yang, and on top of that, Nora and Ren and Pyrrha all have feats where it seems they can individually hang with entire teams by themselves, which is something Yang just does not show. Like, I don't think you understand. In Volume 3, Nora blitzing an entire team and one-shotting them is a massive feat. Now, yes, they're fodder, but they made it into the festival. And you compare that to Team RWBY's opening round, and you can clearly see the difference. I really do think Nora has this, and I don't like bringing up the fight in the cafeteria, but Nora does temporarily get the better of Yang and send her flying. And guess what? Yang's semblance, while it will give her a boost, and Nora has no way to Nora has no way to directly buff herself like Yang does. She matches her feats of strength just in her base. And on top of that, she can use the explosives in her grenade launcher to become even more dangerous. So, truth of the matter is, I believe that Nora will take this quite solidly. On top of that, if we do give Nora the benefit of the doubt and put it in an arena such as the Vital Festival tournament, where she has access to electricity, then it is a complete stomp, because Nora with electricity is unapologetically a monster. It is quite enormous. I don't want to bring up Volume 4 feats, but she was able to blitz Tyrion with a charge bolt. And, it's once again this major gap in power. Nora's semblance allows her to drastically increase her power just like Yang. The only difference is Nora's able to combat base Yang quite easily, and Yang's major feats of strength are compared to Nora just being Nora. So you're giving her the benefit of the doubt. Also, her semblance is based off of how much damage she takes, so there is a good chance that Nora will KO Yang before Yang KOs Nora, because in order for Yang's semblance to be effective, she has to take a lot of damage, and I don't think there are that many hits that Yang can take before she goes down to Nora. So I'm sorry to say this, but I really think Nora has this in the bag. So that's all I got, folks. I'm kind of sorry. Once again, it's very hard to scale these characters because they don't really have any interactive feats. Like, obviously, with like Pyrrha and Weiss, I was able to just scale one to the absolute unit that is Cinder. And, like, there's not much I can really do. Now, to be fair, it is very ambiguous, and you kind of have to take things with a pinch of salt. Now, if you guys do disagree with me, which, to be fair, you have every right to, you know, I'm just some guy. I would love to actually hear your input, because people don't really talk about these battles too much in RWBY. They don't like to compare. So, without further ado, I bid you farewell. Have a good day, everyone. I am signing off.